Welcome back to the Arbor League. I'm Arbor Andy, and today we're going to be playing the Decidueye and Inteleon deck. And yes, we've got that Deep Forest camo going on. I'm going to start off here by flipping the coin. I don't usually win my coin flips. I've lost every one, but we got heads today, so hopefully this game will go positive. I'll throw a card list up, but we do have Rowlet through Decidueye with the Deep Forest camo that prevents V and V Pokemon attacks. And we start off strong with the Rowlet, so we want to evolve this as quickly as possible, because one way to counteract Decidueye is to take it out before it is able to evolve, because only the Decidueye has a Deep Forest camo ability. I've also stacked this deck with a couple rare candies, as you can tell from the list. That is because we can evolve Decidueye quicker. The rare candy lets us skip that middle evolution, so we get to go straight to Decidueye, checking out the Urshifu here and attaching an energy. We also want to power up or put energy on Decidueye as quick as possible. I've also stacked the deck with a couple of Turbo Rapid Strike energies there for Inteleon and Inteleon V, and we've got Blanche there. I actually got this Blanche recently from a real card pack. There's a bunch of codes in it. It was a Blanche starter pack, so I got about 7 of them, and this was one of the decks that I got from it, so I was very happy to get this because I love this deck. Unfortunately, we do take damage there. Urshifu has already added some double turbo energy there, so the reason for the double turbo energy there is to, increase the energy as quickly as possible, because some of these moves do require about 3 or 4 energy cards. So we're going to go ahead and use the Evolution Incense, and we've got Dartrix in our deck already, so we're going to add that Decidueye there so we can, like I said, evolve as quickly as possible. But we're going to play Blanche first, and we do get the rare candy. We didn't get it earlier, but we do now, so we're able to skip that middle evolution of Dartrix and go straight to Decidueye and get that VMAX blocker going on, that Deep Forest camo, and play that one water card, because water counts as a normal, the star energy, but a normal does not count as a water energy. So it doesn't matter what energy card we put on there, we're already able to do damage. As you can see, Splitting Arrow does 90 to the defending Pokemon and 20 to the benched ones. They only have 1 there, so they only take 1 hit. Now, one way to counter this, if you're in this position with this Urshifu, is that one of their their G-Max Rapid Flow, it does 120 damage to 2 of your Pokemon, so it divides up 60 counters to the benched Pokemon. And they also throw an attack, which they throw their energy, maybe misplay. They could have just ended the turn and saved the energy, because now that move costs them energy to discard, and now they don't have energy and they have to take turns stacking again. So unless they've got some energy retrieval going on, we're looking pretty good here, using a Ultra Ball and getting our Smoth here, because I find Frostmoth has a move to attach water cards at any point in time, so I was trying to pair that with Inteleon. I don't have it anymore. I didn't find it as useful. You just get a bunch of energy cards and Energy Search, so it's not a big deal. And they also have Sobble here, so like the water fighting is a pretty good deck, because you can use those Rapid Strike turbo energies on them, because Sobble is a Rapid Strike Pokemon, but unfortunately Inteleon is not. So I've made that mistake where I've put Rapid Strike energy on Sobble and evolved it to Drizzile and evolved it to Inteleon, and the energy went away. So anyways, they've got keep bringing those VMAX, even though they got the Crowbot there, helping them get 6 cards every turn, and Melanie to help search for moving attached energy cards. We're still looking pretty good here. Now the Inteleon is not going to be taken super effective from the grass as it is normal. It is with the cards that all water is weaknesses is water. So they pull another Remo Raid, which is going to be Rapid Strike Pokemon, and they've got probably an Octillery sitting in the back as well. That's probably what they're using their Evolution Incense for right now, searching their deck for that Octillery. Or another Urshifu. Basically, bringing on all these VMAX cards prolongs the hurt here. Like I said earlier, another way of counteracting is doing damage to these bench Pokemon, and they got an Escape Rope, which they swap both Pokemon for, which I don't agree with. They could have just used a move on, let's see, it's going to do 60 damage anyway, so it's going to take out our Snowmoth there. and it's still going to do 0 to Decidueye, but it was debatable on swapping both out there, because now they could have take out Frostmoth regardless. I get the boss's orders there and swapping them out, and so that they don't have any energy cards on Remo Raid there. That last turn was a little weird though. They could have thrown the energy, so I was wondering why they didn't, because they could have KO'd. Oh, I don't think they had enough energy. No, they didn't. That was because they don't have a turbo energy on. They just have double water, so they could have used at least one move here. And that's another reason I took out the turbo energy for the Rapid Strike. I was just trying out some cards with this deck, but that's how I found out that Inteleon wasn't Rapid Strike anymore, so it didn't work. Because I don't know why they made only Sobble Rapid Strike, but not any of its evolutions, because I got a Drizzile right here that's not Rapid Strike either, so that's a little weird. Because once you evolve, they're not Rapid Strike anymore, and the energy goes away, so waiting for their opponent to make their move. They're using Shady Dealings, which lets them get a trainer card from their deck. So hopefully they're probably looking for an escape rope or some energy attachment cards, since their only chance against us is to build up their Inteleons and at least hopefully do neutral damage back to us on the Decidueye, because Inteleon's not VMAX, so we don't resist any moves coming from any Pokemon that don't have V or VMAX on them. And our Inteleon is looking okay up against this other team as well. I mean, we've got the one with Hydro Snipe. I put both in this deck, or it came with both, so, but I've doubled up on the Inteleon V and one with Hydro Snipe, because Waterfall just doesn't do enough damage. And I'd rather take, they've got Quick Shooting on the other one, which does 20 damage to a benched Pokemon, which can help in some situations. As you can see later on, they're just going to be stacking their Inteleons here, because Octillery here has an ability. And it's basically, how you see here, it's a Rapid Strike search. You can search your deck for any other Rapid Strike Pokemon, so Octillery is a good one to have in your deck if you do have some Rapid Strikes. Now you get Rapid Strike energy as well. And again, that's turbo, and it helps with the moves that cost about 2 to 4 energy, so you can double up on that and use less cards and less turns. They're going to go ahead and use a Rapid Strike here on their Urshifu, so their Urshifu's locked and loaded and ready to go. They just need to switch out at some point, because they are not going to be doing any damage for this turn. They've got no energy on Octillery. Basically, like, Octillery, I guess it's debatable, but you could have one of those Pokemon on your bench that has an ability like that to search your deck for more from energy cards and such. So they're using some energy swaps and swapping me back in for some reason. It was a weird play, because now the Urshifu coming back in isn't going to do any damage to me, but it's going to KO our Snowmoth there, which, in my opinion, I think they should have kept the Frostmoth in, because it's going to KO anyways. So they could have done that 120 damage that they just did to my mini Frostmoth there to my Decidueye instead, because I don't believe that the Deep Forest Camo protects from VMAX attack when it's on the bench. That's debatable. That hasn't happened to me yet. But we're going to go ahead and use Sonia here and get a couple of more Pokemon on our bench, because we're kind of empty here. So we need, in case something does happen to Decidueye, they pull something crazy off, we need some bench warmers here. So, and I've already got Inteleon VMAX in my deck, so I'm able to not evolve that this turn, unfortunately, but I'm going to attach the Rapid Strike onto, and the screen doesn't want to register here. I'm trying to check to wait, you're not VMAX, or you're not Rapid Strike, right? No, I'm trying to put it on Sobble here, but the phone won't let me, so we get it on Sobble there, just in case something happens. I don't want the energy to go missing, but I'm going to throw some damage counters onto the Octillery and the Drizzile here. I mean, they'll probably have some Inteleon in the back, but getting that damage off on Urshifu, they're not going to be able to hit us. Now, you're going to see here, like I said, their move does do damage to the bench Pokemon, so they can hit us. So we need to evolve that Inteleon V next turn so that we increase our HP. They also have a Captuous Bucket. I've got one of those to look for water. It depends on like what I'm dealt with, right? Like if I have the Inteleon, then I'll go with the Inteleon and try to VMAX that and start a water line. But this deck, I mainly go for the Decidueye for the Deep Forest Camo. They're going to be selecting some evolutions there for their deck. What do they have? I guess Sobble. Not an evolution card, I guess. I don't know if you're allowed to look for basic Pokemon with an Evolution Incense, so either way, they're filling their deck, and we can do 90 damage with our Splitting Arrow here, so any water that comes in shouldn't be a problem either. We can take them out in about 1 or 2 turns. I've also added a couple potions into this deck. I found I haven't needed like too many potions lately. It's really bad going up against Galarian Weezing, or Weezing, which is another counter to this, because its ability is for all Pokemon on the field to not have abilities. So that's another way of getting around. Then they can do damage to you, they can poison you, and I don't have any antidotes or a lot of potions in the deck because I don't run up against poisons that often, but if you do, it is pretty useful. So there it goes, and that's how I learned my lesson, to not put Rapid Strike energy on Pokemon that aren't Rapid Strike anymore. I thought I made a mistake, that's why I was bringing it up. I was like, oh no. It's not like too big of a deal, because at least Inteleon's card only has 2 energy, but it counts as double water, so it needs a water and a normal, and that's not going to work. So we're going to look through our cards here to get that Choice Belt, because I want to put that Choice Belt on Decidueye. And it just, I guess, takes away from the sting, because, I mean, this game is pretty much game, set, match, but we're going to put a Choice Belt on there that does 30 more damage to Arrow there. So now that we've got them into 250, they're getting pretty low and dangerously close to KOing here. Let me know down in the comments, what cards have you played that were a mistake and that you lost? So we're going to see what they do. They get the Telescopic Light, which also does 30 more damage to the opponent's defending Pokemon, but it does not do 30 more damage to Quick Shot. As you can see here, they're just using shady dealings here, so they're probably going to look for another Evolution Incense so they can power up to Inteleon, or they're going to use Melanie. That's okay too. Just moving energy attached. I'm surprised that they're not building up an Inteleon or using any switch cards, but we're going to see here that Urshifu's attacks, now that I have bench mons, that's what I wanted to evolve as quickly as possible, to take as little damage as possible and hopefully not KO my bench Pokemon, because they can just do 60 damage to Rowlet there and Rowlet's gone, and then Sobble's going to be a couple turns, but on the plus side, we do resist everything that Urshifu throws on Decidueye, so they can win the game if they just continually knock out my bench Pokemon. So this game is not over yet. And we've only got so many potions as well. So they're going to go for another Rapid Strike Search. Their bench is pretty full, so it's not like they can throw out any bench Pokemon either, or if they do, well, they don't. And I guess that Rapid Strike Search proved that they have nothing left. And another thing that I wanted to point out here is that they're down to 13 cards and we're still at 34. So they've got a 1/6 of their deck left, and we still have half of ours left. Also, they choose 120 for each. Okay, so there we go. There's an example of how Urshifu can win this. So this game is not over. They only have to knock out my Decidueye. And if they have enough, in my opinion, I think if they had other Pokemon, I don't know what you would add to this deck. I guess the Inteleon that I have with Hydro Snipe on, because it's not a VMAX. I don't think they can do damage with Octillery or with the other Inteleon that they have here. We're picking up a Bird Keeper there, which is also good to have, because if you swap into Rowlet, then you can ignore all energy cards on it. So it's good for when you have the Rowlet, at least. We're going to go ahead and use our Spinning Arrow here and just whittle away at the Drizzile here. And I was deciding the Octillery or the other Inteleon. Just going to see... Oh, okay, so we can put a counter on the Urshifu. I think that was just a little bit of a BM. But here's another amazing part here, is that Urshifu's rule box actually allows you to take 3 prize cards. So all we need to do is knock out the other Urshifu that comes in right now. So we're looking pretty good. As long as we can, all we need is 2 KOs. They can sit there pegging our bench all day long, and that doesn't bother me, because once I have no bench Pokemon, I don't have to put a bench Pokemon out if I don't have to. So if they have their Urshifu powered up, and I have some basic Pokemon, I'm just letting everything go through, not putting a single bench Pokemon on, because all we need to do is take this out. And he's getting dangerously close. I think he's used a Lucky Pop at one point, but he's up to 300 or 200 there, so 290. Yeah, it's been about 2 turns to get him down, to whittle him away, because we got the Choice Belt on, so 120. So this next turn he's going to be at 320, so very dangerously close. And I don't know why the Octillery is using, just wasting time, I guess, using the Rapid Strike Surge. Oh, they still have an Urshifu. They didn't take anything last turn, so that was a little surprising, but they took an Urshifu VMAX out of their deck, which is pretty funny here. I also think that I don't think you can quick shot the opposing Pokemon, so you can only quick shot the bench Pokemon, so that's a good thing for us. And if Decidueye was on the bench, we'd be getting quick shotted down, which is also not ideal. And there you go, Inteleon takes some damage, but if we didn't VMAX evolve that, then that Gmax move would have definitely taken its toll on there. So we're also getting dangerously close to living, and that's why I stacked the deck with the Parasol, because we can throw that Parasol out onto Inteleon there, and it evades all effects of attacks from Pokemon, so it actually protects while it's on the bench from Urshifu. And we're going to get that Parasol right on there. And now we are locked and loaded. 2 more turns to take out this Urshifu. And he's going to see here that his Gmax attack isn't going to do any damage to neither Decidueye or Inteleon. So this is getting pretty dangerous for our opponent here. Splitting arrows on the bench there, just doing any damage that we can. Although this is a game set match here. We got 320 HP, we've already got 160 on there, so their next turn doing 120 is only going to get us down to 280. We knocked their one Pokemon out and they're gone, so they're down to 10 cards again. We're still at 31 here. So now that they've used that card, the Shady Dealings, to get Melanie, they're down to 9. So I'm just counting their cards. They've got 9 cards left to win this game, and we've still got 31. We've got half our deck left, and they have 9 cards. So I just killed myself laughing here. I don't know what is left all in their deck. Now they used Melanie, and now they have 6 cards. So 6 plus whatever is in their hand to pull something absolutely crazy off. They have to have, you know, like a Mew or Dialga or something to just wall us. But that's not going to happen today. So I'm using more Rapid Strike energy and trying to quick shot down our Inteleon there. But so the Parasol does not prevent quick shots, but it does prevent attacks, or sorry, effects from attacks. So that was not quick shooting is not an effect, it's just an ability. So they've stacked their deck here with the Inteleons, and I mean, we still got 320 HP, so we're still looking good here. Let me know in the comments, have you guys enjoyed this video? Do you enjoy the deck, watching me play? What would you do differently? Or what cards would you add or subtract from this deck? And now it's our turn, so that's pretty much game over here. We don't even need to do anything. We can just throw some energy at them, and I'm playing trainer cards. Just get it over with. Past me. What are you doing? Now we're doing 120 damage with our splitting arrows there, so it doesn't matter what we put these these damage counters on here. This is good night, sleep tight for Urshifu. Is their rule box is take 3 prize cards. They faint with all their energy, and we basically take this game. So that's pretty dangerous running 2 Urshifus up against Decidueye there. We take that win. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing to the content. I'll post more card games along with more Pogo content. But I've been Arbor Andy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.